that we are God's children. We know that we are one with that divine essence. And on this Mother's Day, we come into this time and we're going to go into a time of meditation around that creative nature. That creative nature that is from the feminine divine. And so I invite you to find that comfort in your chair. And gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a few deep cleansing breaths to let go. Let go of the busyness of getting here this morning, the busyness of the week. And maybe let your shoulders drop and your mind settle. And with each breath, we become more aware of the presence within you, that divine essence. And we understand that God is not a distant being, but as the divine presence and power active in all creation, within us, within all that is around us. So breathe in and know that God is here. We are in the midst of the pure presence. And as you breathe out and feel, know we are not separate. And we are one with this creative energy. And I invite you to silently affirm to yourself, I am a divine expression of God. And then say it again gently in your heart. I am a divine expression of God. You're not a passive observer in life. You are a conscious creator. And God's life flows through you, as you. Divine love radiates through you, as you. Universal wisdom thinks through you. And in the stillness of this time of meditation, allow your inner guidance to come forward, to arise within you. And I invite you to ask quietly in your heart, what am I being called to create? What good, what beauty, what peace wants to be born through me? And pause and listen. And you may feel a word or have an image or a knowing. And just simply receive this as we move into a few moments of silence. In the silence. And we affirm for ourselves, I co-create my life with Source and with clarity and faith. And just visualize yourself moving through your day, through your work, through your relationships, as a conscious partner in divine creation. See your thoughts shaping possibilities. See your love awakening that healing within you. Feel the sacred flow of divine energy moving with you and through you. For we are, each and every one, co-creators of the life that we desire, co-creators of the world around us, of our experiences, of our knowing. And so as we begin to bring our awareness back into this room, I invite you to wiggle your fingers or move your shoulders and take one final deep breath in and let it go. And we thank you, Spirit, for the power to create with love, with purpose, and with you. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and carry this awareness into your day. And so it is. Namaste. So let's take one more big deep breath. Can you feel the creative juices flowing through you? I see some wiggling going on, so I think some of it has landed. Okay. So, every year, about October, I start visioning and meditating on what our focus, what our dream, what our theme is going to be for the coming year. And I share this with many ministries across the country. And this year, I'm alive in 2025, which y'all have been kind of following along with some of the monthly focuses in order to bring ourselves into that liveliness. Well, so May, as you've seen, is about being co-creators. And isn't it interesting that the divine feminine is the creative energy? And it happens to be in May, which happens to have Mother's Day. So isn't that a little bit of a, I wonder how that happened. And it's okay if y'all laugh. It's okay if y'all just relax, okay? Kick off your shoes. I kicked mine off. We honor mothers on this day every year. And for all that I have, I would prefer that we honor mothers every day of the year. But it's not just that mother piece. It is that divine feminine. It is that nurturing, that creative energy that is actually found in each and every one of us. So guys, don't feel left out. Because no matter what your wives or your sisters or your friends may tell you, you do have a creative side. And there is an aspect in all of us that is that nurturing, supporting aspect. When I was here a while back, well, I guess it was the very first visit, we worked on your mission and vision and your core values. And we likened that to being in labor and giving birth. And I promise you, there were men in the room. So the fellas helped in that birthing process. Each and every day of our lives, we are creating something. Something. Now, am I the only one that goes through my day sometimes and creates things and then stops and goes, what? How in the world did I get here? So unfortunately, even when we're unconscious to what we're doing, we're still creating. We're still making manifest. And I know for myself, I would prefer to consciously create in my world and not do it while asleep, because I don't know about y'all, but I can have some wild things happen in my sleep. And so if it happens while I'm asleep, and if I am going through my creative nature asleep in life, then I'm creating some really interesting things in my life on a daily basis. And we have the power, we have the God-given, if you will, abilities and invitation to join in this creative process with Source. As we talked a little bit yesterday, we live in a field of infinite potential. There is nothing that ever has been, is, or ever will be that its foundation is not already present in the realm of Source, in the realm of that potential that is around us, in us, all the time. And we have one job. And that one job is to be present to that and to recognize and to move in the direction of creating heaven now. You know, we talked yesterday about yesterday, today, or the now, and tomorrow. Yes, yesterday and tomorrow, those are things that affect where we are right this minute. But if we don't pause long enough to be in this present moment, what's the use? What's the purpose? We have to be present to the now in order to even appreciate any of it. You know, in unity teachings, the concept of being co-creators with God is at the heart and understanding of how we interact with the divine. You know, I grew up in a tradition who taught me and tried to, and yep, I'm going to say it, tried to brainwash me that I was less than. That God was all that, a bag of chips, and I was the lowly dirt. And I'm sure none of you had that experience before. And how empowering, how exciting to come to a point of recognizing, you know what? I am that. I am that divine being in expression right here, right now. Source and I are partners. Source and I walk hand in hand and create this experience that I go through with every thought, with every breath. Now, it's empowering, but it's also a little bit scary. Because if things don't go the way I think I want them to, I can't look at some being somewhere else and blame it, can I? You know, I've had people through the years say, why is it that unity seems to have a revolving door? Why is it that people come and they may hang out for 3, 4, 6 months and then all of a sudden they just vanish? Have y'all seen that happen? I have a theory. Here's my theory. When we truly step into the truth of who we are, that we are expressions of spirit, of source, of universe, whatever name you want to call it, and that we are responsible for our own joy, happiness, our own experiences, that's too much for some people to take. It's work. And if you come from a tradition that basically says if you pray hard enough, you'll get what you want, maybe. As long as somebody hadn't prayed harder over there. You know, I always get a kick out of the Friday night football games because in every huddle, they're praying to be victorious. And isn't it interesting how one team is hurt and the other one isn't? Yes, we want to stay prayed up. But it has more to do with our actions and us being responsible and knowing, being awake as we go through our experiences and stepping fully into the truth of who we are. Being a unity person is not a walk in the park because we recognize our responsibility. And so many people, they come in and they think, oh, this feels good. There's all this positive energy and everybody's so nice and they accept me and da 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 da. And then what happens? That fifth principle gets in the way. You remember what the fifth principle is? It's the one that talks about action. The one that says that we have to put feet to it. We have to be in action. We have to act like it. We have to show up. We have to do our work. We have to hold right consciousness. And when that happens, many people hit the door so fast it creates a breeze. And so what I've seen through years of being, in church ministry is a lot of times some of those people will come back when they're ready to do the work, when they're ready to take those steps of action. And the main thing for those of us who stay and do the work, breath after breath, thought after thought, action after action, is for us to hold it, to hold that steady as she goes. Continue the work, continue showing up, continuing doing what our brother and way shower, Jesus the Christ, did, because his whole ministry was about demonstrating. So how are you demonstrating? How are you showing up? That's our job, is to show up, to be the principles, to enact the principles of Source. And as we are in that action, we are co-creating. We're co-creating with Source. We're co-creating with each other. When I was here last time, we met as the board and we did some visioning and some strategic planning. And what I will tell you is out of that came what's happened in here. Out of a thought, out of a statement, all of this has been made manifest. It's pretty cool. And it's what I find really fun is to look at the point of origin, at the very thought, the very comment, the very discussion that leads to beautiful co-creations. Now the cool thing is yes, we co-create with Spirit, but what else do we do? We co-create with each other. That's right. That's right. And I want to commend this community for getting on the bandwagon with each other, for saying yes to creating a beautiful, welcoming environment. Are we complete yet? Not quite. Do you hear the echo? That's the next piece, is doing the things in this room to soften the sound so that it's not bouncing off all the hard surfaces all the time. That's the next part. And then a few other little things, and this room will be complete. This room will be inviting and getting us ready for what's coming. Do I know what's next? No. And sometimes that's the very piece that gets so uncomfortable for us. When we are in that creative flow, we have an idea, and then whenever something's completed, we go, okay, well, that's done. Now what? What's next? Where do we go from here? We've got some momentum going, and now we just feel like we're standing still. But what goes on within us, within our hearts, within our divine essence, never stops. And so it's just being open. I know the big part of making the changes that we've made here so far is to make it inviting and prepare the space for new energy, to prepare the space for more versatile usage of the space, to prepare it for the next generations. I have to say, when I walked in here on, I guess it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning for the, as the board called it, the big reveal. Reverend Becky's here. We're going to reveal what all we've been busy with. My heart just felt full. It felt full, and it was exciting because of the freshness, because of the colors and all of the wonderful things and the love. I could feel the love that has gone into this. And so I want to personally thank you for being part of the co-creative aspect of what's going on here. And we're just getting started because we have built it, and now we're open to what is coming. And it's always interesting because as we co-create, we know that 100% of us aren't going to be in 100% alignment with everything that we're doing all of the time. Church is just one big family, and how many of your families are in 100% agreement all the time about everything you do? It's not going to happen, is it? But we come together and work together to create what makes our hearts happy. And so I thank you for being part of that. And I thank you for being part of what's coming in the future. And I invite you just to hold for this ministry and for the lives of all those involved and for the lives of the greater community, that everything is unfolding in perfect harmony for the highest and the best of this ministry, of each and every one represented here, and for each and every one in the greater community. We have opportunities right now for some massive, exciting pieces. Do we know what they all are? Nope. And it's okay. I heard it said a long time ago, sometimes the how and the what are none of our business. And we just need to be present and say, okay. And so I invite you, when the time comes, to go into your heart and feel what is your yes for whatever is yours to do. And so, always remember that since we are created in the image and likeness of God, this means that we possess those divine creative powers. No more, no less than anybody around you. We all have the equal abilities. But you know what they say about abilities? They only work when you work them. I think about many years ago, and you might not think it by looking at me today, but I used to be an all-star softball player. And I practiced. And I practiced. And I played. And I was good. Now, I could probably still catch a ball. But I know, I played shortstop. I know I'm not diving for those grounders anymore. I've given up my attachment to that ability. But what happens when we stop practicing? Those abilities, they tend to fade from our cognizant being. And so we have the ability to be co-creators. We're going to be creating no matter what. Stay awake, stay aware, stay focused. Practice. Practice being that creator. Stephen mentioned that I'm relocating to Canada. I am. And here's the interesting piece. I just had my 69th birthday last weekend. I would have never thought that at age 68 I would get married. I never thought I would marry a Canadian. I didn't even know any Canadians. But that's what's happened. And as I feel very comfortable and very confident in my manifestation capabilities and in my abilities to co-create, we've been plugging along. Thought about her coming to the States. That's a nightmare. It's so much easier and a fraction of the cost for me to get a permanent residency in Canada. So that's what we started the ball doing. And then there's she has a house, I have a house. Neither, if we're coming to Canada and her home wasn't, big enough for me and my stuff and my Cooper. And so it's like, okay, well, we're going to find something else that works for both of us, for all of us. And for all those friendly friends and congregants and family members who have said, make sure you have spare rooms in Canada because we're coming. So here's the piece, and some of you may find yourselves in this situation. She has no background in unity. She has no background in any sort of tradition, which is kind of good because it's a blank slate on spirituality, so there's not all that stuff to erase. Okay? So I'm doing my process of holding the consciousness and just going through the motions of, okay, and holding in my mind about packing and what I'm going to take, what I'm not going to take, because I know all of this is part of creation. There's all those little pieces. And she's in a panic. Well, what if? What if? And I said, you've got to stop that. You can't be doing that because I'm on a roll here. I'm in the process of creating, and you're messing up my jam. And she goes, I don't get it. And I said, you will. I said, will you just have faith and trust and go with me? Okay. So we had that talk. We had that talk probably last Sunday. Okay. Monday, I get an offer on my home in Jordan. Okay. Wasn't there yet, but I know that it's coming. Not quite what I'm willing to accept. I left for here on Thursday. So Wednesday, we had looked at a house. Has 5 bedrooms, so there's room. And we put in an offer. Went back and forth a little bit, but you always lowball your offer compared to what you're willing to do. So I was sitting with the board on Friday, and I had responded to the counter with her, and she's on the ground, boots on the ground, doing everything. Well, probably within an hour, we have an accepted contract on a house in Killarney, Manitoba. And we're leaving next week. After I get back up there, we're driving back to Georgia to finish up everything on the sale down there. Now, what would have happened had I got caught up in her energy of what if? What if I can't do this? Or what if they won't accept that? Or what if you can't sell this? Or what would have happened? Every time we do that what if stuff, we're throwing up a detour sign to the universe. Or a stop sign. For sure, at least a yield sign. And that's the piece that happens a lot of times. We go, well, I've been having this vision, I've been holding it, I've been saying that this is what I want. Well, stop wanting and start desiring, first of all. This is what I desire, but are you clear? Are you holding the line on what you want to create? Or are you off chasing rabbits or going down that what if hole? If you're going to what if up? What if everything happened the way that we desire it to? Wow, wouldn't that be exciting? What if everything in your life went the way you would like for it to? Or what if everything in your life went even better than you could imagine it to? I have a colleague who wrote a book, and it's called What If Up. And that's what it's all about. It's what if we shifted from always the what if being something negative or a lower frequency to what if it all went beautifully? What if everything that my heart desires came true? What if I woke up in the morning and the sun was shining and the birds were singing? What if I had the energy to do everything that I desire? What if all the finances were there to cover everything that I had a desire for? Feels a little different, doesn't it? What if I went to the doctor next week and they said, "Oh, that was a mistake. You're good." What if? And the cool piece is, we have the capacity to create in that energy. There's nothing stopping us except that person who looks back in the mirror at you in the mornings. That's where the challenge comes in, is staying centered, staying true, staying focused on that which your heart desires to create in this thing that we call life. You are powerful beyond measure. So I invite each and every one of us to lean into our divine feminine, into that creative nature of who we are. As we celebrate the mothers who have given birth, as we celebrate those who have served as a mother figure, whether it be male or female. Because I know some guys who have been some of the best moms. And so we celebrate that. And as we celebrate that, I invite you to go forward. Go forward into your dreams. Go forward knowing that you are powerful and that you have a partner in your creative abilities that knows no bounds. You're the one you've been waiting for. You've got this. Pick it up, take it with you, and make manifest all that you desire. Namaste.